The night sky over the Pacific lab was calm, but inside the observatory a storm was waiting to begin. Dr. Ethan Cole sat alone, surrounded by blinking machines and soft humming computers. He had been listening to the stars for years, hoping to hear a sign of life. Most nights were silent, but tonight something broke the silence. It started as a whisper, faint, trembling, almost human. Ethan leaned closer to the speaker, thinking it was a mistake or static from space. Then the voice became clear, soft, and emotional. "Ethan, my husband. I'm coming home." Ethan froze. His finger stopped on the keyboard. The voice spoke again, this time stronger, more real. "I waited so long. The stars told me to find you." For a moment, the whole room felt alive. The monitors glowed brighter. The air vibrated like electricity, and a code appeared on the screen. His DNA sequence. The same pattern he had used for his space experiment 5 years ago. But he never sent it. Someone, or something, had copied his genetic code and sent it back with a message. He replayed the voice again and again, his mind spinning. Who was this woman? Why did she call him husband? He was married already. Happily to Mia. And yet, something deep in his chest stirred, a strange warmth that he couldn't explain. The sound of her voice felt familiar, like a dream he had once forgotten. Far beyond Earth, in the glowing blue sky of planet Zinara, Princess Lyra stood before the Council of Elders. Her eyes, the color of distant galaxies, were filled with determination. For years she had seen visions, of a man with kind eyes and a silver wedding band. She had heard his voice in her dreams calling her name through the stars, and now the message had come. The human has awakened, the High Elder said. The bond is real. It is time, Lyra nodded. Her heart beat fast. She had waited centuries, trapped in frozen time, for the day she could meet her destined partner. Their DNA was linked by cosmic design, a sacred union between two worlds. She stepped onto the silver platform as the teleport gate opened in a burst of light. "Ethan," she whispered, "I'm coming home." Back on Earth, Ethan told Mia about the strange message, but she laughed nervously. "It's probably interference, love. Maybe a prank or a signal bounce." Ethan tried to agree, but the voice kept echoing in his mind. That night he dreamed of stars raining across a crystal sky, and a woman's face he couldn't forget. Days passed. Then one night the signal returned, stronger, louder. "Ethan, prepare for my arrival." The moment it ended, every light in the lab went out. A strange glow appeared in the sky, a comet that changed direction, heading straight for Earth. The next morning, news channels screamed about a mysterious meteor crash near the coastline. Ethan drove there immediately, heart pounding. The air was smoky, filled with strange silver mist. He walked through the wreckage until he saw her. A woman stood in the center of the crater, surrounded by burning metal and blue fire. Her skin shimmered faintly like moonlight. Her eyes found his instantly, and for a moment time stopped. Ethan felt his breath leave his chest. "Ethan," she said softly, smiling. "You look just like I remembered." He stepped back, his voice shaking. Who are you?" She tilted her head, confused by his question. "It's me, Lyra, your wife." The world around them felt unreal. Wind swirled, trees bent toward the light, and Ethan's heartbeat echoed in his ears. He couldn't move. He couldn't think. His wife? How could that be possible? Lyra stepped closer, her movements calm but graceful, almost not human. "We were bound under the twin suns of Zinara," she said gently. "You promised me eternity, Ethan. Did you forget?" Ethan's mind raced. The name Zinara triggered something deep inside him. A flicker of memory. A flash of a silver city, a ring of starlight, and his hand holding someone else's beneath a foreign sky. "No," he whispered, shaking his head. "That can't be real." Lyra smiled sadly. "Then why do your eyes remember me?" Before Ethan could speak, police sirens echoed nearby. Mia's car pulled up behind him. She had followed him. She saw the glowing woman and gasped. "Ethan, who is she?" Lyra turned toward Mia, her voice low and strange. "You must be the one who took my place." Mia's face went pale. "Your place? What is she talking about, Ethan?" He didn't know what to say. He stood frozen between two worlds, one human, one alien, and both claiming his heart. Lyra looked at him one last time, her eyes glowing like twin stars. "You were mine before she was born," she whispered. Then, in a flash of light, she vanished into thin air, leaving behind only the smell of ozone and the echo of her voice in the wind. Ethan fell to his knees, staring at the empty crater. His mind screamed for answers, but deep inside, a quiet voice whispered that the story wasn't over. It was just beginning. Above him, far beyond the clouds, something shimmered. A faint light moving among the stars, watching, waiting, promising to return. The night after Lyra vanished, Ethan couldn't sleep. Her voice still echoed in his mind. "You were mine before she was born." He sat on the edge of his bed, watching Mia sleep beside him. Her face looked peaceful, but Ethan's heart was in chaos. Every sound in the dark room felt alive. The ticking clock, the rustle of curtains, even the air seemed to whisper her name. Lyra. The next morning, Ethan went back to his lab. He played the strange transmission again, trying to understand it. The message data showed something impossible. The signal wasn't from space anymore. It was coming from Earth. A chill ran down his spine. If Lyra had disappeared into light, where was she now? He zoomed into the coordinates. The signal was moving, slowly, as if someone was walking, directly toward his city. That evening, strange things began to happen. The lights in the neighborhood flickered without reason. Cars stopped working. Street cameras went black. And Ethan's old telescope, one he hadn't touched in years, started turning by itself, pointing toward the ocean. He didn't tell Mia. She already thought he was losing his mind. But deep down, Ethan knew. Lyra was near. Somewhere in the forest near the coastline, Lyra walked barefoot under the moonlight. She moved silently, her silver dress glowing faintly in the dark. Every plant she touched lit up for a second, like it remembered her. Her human disguise wasn't perfect. Her eyes still reflected light like water, and her voice carried an echo that didn't belong to this world. But she didn't care. She was here, on the planet where her love had once lived with her. She stopped near a lake and touched the surface. Ripples formed, showing her the memory of another time. Ethan laughing, their hands touching under a violet sky. Her heart ached. He didn't remember her. The humans had changed him. "I will make him remember," she whispered. The stars above flickered as if they agreed. Back in the city, Ethan began having dreams again. Flashes of a world made of glass and light, a wedding under twin suns, and a promise. "Across the stars I will find you." He would wake up shaking, his heart racing. Every night the dreams grew stronger. Every morning he felt less human. One night as he walked home from the lab, he saw her, standing at the end of the street under a flickering lamp. She was wearing a human dress now, simple, white, soft. But even from far away, he could feel the strange pull, like gravity itself wanted them together. "Ethan," she said softly. Her voice was the same one that came from the stars, warm, familiar, heartbreaking. He froze. "You shouldn't be here," he whispered. "I had to come," she replied. "You called me. You always do." He shook his head. "No, I didn't," Lyra smiled gently. "Your heart did." For a moment, time stopped. No sound, no air, only silence and her glowing eyes watching him. Then she touched his hand. The world flashed. In that instant, he saw everything. Himself standing beside her on a silver bridge, exchanging vows beneath alien constellations. He saw their hands joined by a beam of light. He saw her crying when he vanished through a collapsing portal. And then, darkness. He gasped and pulled his hand away. "What was that?" he asked, his voice trembling. "Our past," she said. "The one they stole from you." He stepped back, shaking his head. "No, this isn't real." "It's more real than your human life," she said softly. "You just forgot." Before he could respond, a loud horn cut through the silence. Mia's car. She had come looking for him again. Lyra looked toward the light, her expression unreadable. "She doesn't know who you are," she said. "Not really." Mia ran toward them. "Ethan, what's going on?" "Who is she?" He opened his mouth, but no words came. Lyra stepped back into the shadows, eyes still locked on him. "You will remember," she whispered. "And when you do, you will come to me." Then just like before, she was gone, her body turning into tiny silver sparks that floated into the night. Mia grabbed his arm. "Ethan, talk to me. What's happening?" He couldn't answer. His head was spinning. All he could see was Lyra's face, and the images that didn't belong to this life. That night, when he returned home, the lights flickered again. The mirror in his hallway cracked by itself. And from somewhere unseen, a soft voice whispered through the walls, "Remember me, my love." Ethan's reflection shimmered for a second, and in the glass he didn't see his own face. He saw himself wearing silver armor, standing beside Lyra under two suns. He stepped back, terrified. "What's happening to me?" he whispered, but there was no answer. Only the quiet hum of something awakening inside him. Something not human. And somewhere deep underground, a strange device in his lab began to glow, reacting to his DNA and sending out a new signal into the stars. Mia couldn't shake the feeling that something had changed in her home. The air felt colder. The walls whispered at night. And Ethan, the man she loved, had started staring at nothing, lost in thoughts she couldn't reach. She would wake up at 3 a.m. and find him standing near the window, eyes fixed on the stars. Sometimes his lips moved, like he was talking to someone she couldn't see. When she touched his shoulder, he would flinch and look at her like a stranger. At first, Mia told herself it was stress, the project at his lab, the late nights. But then the strange things began. Light bulbs flickered only when he was angry. Mirrors cracked when she mentioned the name Lyra. And one night the TV turned on by itself, showing a strange woman's face for a second before the screen went black. Mia froze. She had never seen that woman before. But her eyes, they looked just like the ones from Ethan's nightmares. The next morning, she followed Ethan to the lab. He had been locking the doors lately, hiding something. Through the window, she saw him staring at a glowing object, a crystal pulsing like a heartbeat. She pressed her ear to the glass and heard him whisper, "Lyra, please stay away. I have a life now." Her chest tightened. He was talking to her. The woman from the message. Mia ran from the building, her mind spinning. Who was Lyra? A hacker? A ghost? A lover from his past? She didn't know what to believe. That night, Ethan returned home late. His hands trembled as he poured a glass of water. Mia watched him quietly from the kitchen. "Who is she?" she finally asked. He froze. "Mia, don't," he said softly. "I saw you," she continued, her voice shaking. "You talked to her. You said her name." He turned away. "It's not what you think." "Then what is it?" she demanded. "Who is Lyra?" He looked at her, pain in his eyes. "I don't know," he whispered. "But she knows me." Mia couldn't sleep after that. When she finally closed her eyes, she dreamed of silver cities and two suns. She saw Lyra, standing over her bed, whispering words she didn't understand. When she woke, her pillow was wet with tears and her room smelled like ozone, like burnt air after lightning. Days turned into weeks. Ethan became distant, quiet. He started wearing gloves because his hands would glow faintly at night. Machines around him behaved strangely, phones ringing without calls, lights dimming when he passed. One evening, while Ethan was at the lab, Mia decided to follow her fear. She took his old car and drove to the coast, the place where the meteor had fallen. The crash site was quiet now, fenced off, but the ground still shimmered with strange blue dust. She walked closer and saw footprints, small, bare, and glowing faintly in the dark. They led into the forest. Her heart pounded as she followed them. And then she saw her. Lyra stood by the lake, the moon reflecting on her hair. She looked peaceful, almost sad. Mia hid behind a tree, trying not to breathe. Lyra turned slowly, her glowing eyes finding Mia instantly. "You shouldn't be here," she said softly. Mia stepped out, trembling. "Who are you?" Lyra smiled faintly. "The question is not who I am, but who he is. What do you mean?" Mia asked. Lyra walked closer, her feet not even leaving prints now. "You think you know him, but you don't. You live with a shadow of the man he once was." "That's a lie," Mia whispered. "He's my husband." Lyra tilted her head. "Your husband is mine. His soul belongs to me. He promised me across the stars." Mia's throat tightened. "He doesn't even remember you." Lyra's smile faded. "He will. The heart never forgets its first world." The air around them grew colder. The trees started to shimmer, reacting to Lyra's rising power. Mia felt fear crawling up her spine. "You're hurting him," she said. "He's changing because of you." Lyra's eyes glowed brighter. "He's changing because he's waking up." Mia took a step back. "You need to leave him alone." Lyra's voice softened. "I can't. Without him, I will fade." A tear rolled down her glowing cheek, silver, not clear. It fell to the ground and turned into light. Before Mia could say another word, Lyra vanished again, dissolving into thousands of bright sparks. Mia stood there, shaking. She didn't know if she had just spoken to a woman, a ghost, or something far beyond human. When she returned home, Ethan was waiting at the door. "You went there, didn't you?" he said quietly. Mia didn't answer. He looked tired, broken. "She's not evil, Mia, she's just lost." "Then why are you losing yourself too?" she whispered. He didn't reply. He just turned away, staring once again at the night sky, the same direction Lyra had vanished into. That night, Mia locked herself in their bedroom. But even behind the closed door, she could feel her presence. The lights flickered once, twice, and then stopped, and when she looked into the mirror, she didn't see herself. She saw Lyra's reflection standing behind her, whispering, "He will remember me, and when he does, you will be gone." Mia screamed and turned around, but the room was empty. Only the cold air and the echo of Lyra's voice remained. The storm that night wasn't natural. Thunder rolled without clouds. The air shimmered with strange energy, and people across the city saw lights moving in patterns above the ocean. Inside a dark command room deep beneath Washington, D.C., men in suits watched the footage in silence. On every screen, one name flashed again and again: Ethan Cole. A general leaned forward. "That's the scientist from the Deep Space Project, right?" An agent nodded. "Yes, sir. He's the one who received the alien transmission last month, and now, it looks like the sender is here." Ethan had no idea that he was being watched. He was too busy trying to understand what was happening to his body. The changes were becoming impossible to hide. His heartbeat sounded like thunder in his ears. When he touched metal, it hummed with faint light. And sometimes he could hear voices from far away, whispers that didn't belong to this world. He told no one. Not even Mia, but the government already knew. One morning as he entered his lab, he saw something strange. The door scanner flashed red when access denied. Only he and two others were allowed in. He swiped again. Same result. Then he saw it. New security cameras, small and black, hanging in the corners. Someone had been inside. Ethan's stomach tightened. He walked to his desk and froze. His research files were gone. Every note, every log, every photo of the alien signal, deleted. But one thing remained. A small envelope. Inside it was a single sheet of paper. "Stop searching, Dr. Cole, for your own safety." That night he called his old friend Dr. Singh, who worked at a government observatory. When Singh answered, his voice was nervous. "Ethan, listen to me. They're tracking your lab. They know about the crash site, and they know about her." Ethan's grip tightened on the phone. "Who told them?" "It doesn't matter," Singh said. "Just leave the city now." The call cut off before Ethan could reply. Across the city, Lyra stood on a rooftop, her silver eyes glowing faintly. She had felt the surveillance too, strange drones watching from the clouds. They were hunting her, and soon they would come for Ethan. She looked toward his apartment, whispering softly, "They will not take you again." The air around her shimmered. A soft hum rose from her skin, energy gathering. For a moment, the city lights dimmed. Then, she vanished into the wind. At home, Mia noticed the same black cars parked across the street every night. Men with earpieces sat inside, pretending to read newspapers. When she told Ethan, he tried to stay calm. "Mia, don't talk to them. Just act normal." "Normal?" she said, her voice shaking. "You glow in your sleep, Ethan. You talk in another language. You're not the same man anymore." He looked away. "I didn't ask for this," he said quietly. "But I think I was part of something long before I met you." The next day, agents came to his lab. They wore black suits and polite smiles. "Dr. Cole," one said, "we'd like to ask you a few questions about your research." He nodded slowly. "Sure, but you already have my files, don't you?" The man smiled faintly. "We do. We also have something else." He placed a photograph on the table. It showed Lyra, standing at the crash site, her eyes glowing. Ethan's heart stopped. "How did you—" "She's not human," the agent interrupted. "She's dangerous. If you know where she is, you need to tell us now." Ethan stayed silent. The agent leaned closer. "You think she loves you, Doctor?" "She doesn't. She's using you. She's the key to something we don't understand." and you're her link. That night, Ethan packed a small bag. He didn't know where to go, only that he had to leave. When Mia saw him at the door, tears filled her eyes. "You're going to her, aren't you?" He hesitated. "If I don't, they'll find her. And if they find her, they'll kill her." Mia shook her head. "Then they'll kill you too." "I have to know the truth," he said softly, "about who I am." He turned to leave, but before he could step out, every light in the house went out. A blinding flash lit the street. The government vehicles outside were thrown backward by an invisible force. Ethan ran to the windows and saw her, Lyra. She was standing in the middle of the street, eyes glowing like stars, hands raised as power surged around her. Electric lines snapped and the sky itself shimmered. "Ethan," she said, her voice echoing in his mind. "They found us. We have to go." He ran outside, ignoring Mia's screams. "Where?" he asked. Lyra looked toward the horizon. "To the truth." As they disappeared into the forest, helicopters roared overhead. Searchlights cut through the trees and soldiers moved in from every direction. But wherever Lyra walked, the ground trembled and machines failed. She was too powerful and too desperate. Behind them, one of the soldiers lifted his radio. "Target acquired," he said. "The alien female and the human male are together. Prepare for containment." Deep in the shadows, Ethan and Lyra reached an abandoned observatory, the same place where he had first recorded the message. She touched the cold metal of the telescope and it glowed faintly blue. "This is where it began," she said softly, "and this is where you'll remember." Ethan looked at her, confused and afraid. "Remember what?" Lyra turned to him, eyes full of sorrow. "The truth about who you really are." The observatory was silent. Dust floated in the air like tiny ghosts of forgotten stars. Ethan's footsteps echoed as he followed Lyra inside. He had been here many times before, but now it felt different. The air buzzed with strange energy, alive and watching. Lyra stood in the center of the dome, her silver eyes reflecting the moonlight. She touched the telescope gently. The metal hummed beneath her fingers like it was waking from a long sleep. "This place remembers you," she said softly. Her voice carried both sadness and hope. Ethan frowned. "I've never been here with you." Lyra turned to him. "Not in this life." He stared at her, confused. "What do you mean, this life?" She raised her hand and a crystal appeared from the air. Small, glowing, pulsing like a heart. "This," she whispered, "is your memory." The crystal hovered between them, spinning slowly. A beam of light shot out, painting the walls with moving images. Ethan gasped. He saw himself, but not as he was now. He was standing on a shining platform under two suns, dressed in silver armor. Lyra was beside him, wearing a crown of light. They held hands as a group of tall, glowing beings surrounded them, chanting words in a language he somehow understood. Then, the light flashed, and he saw the chaos. Explosions in the sky, soldiers running, and a machine pulling him away from her, tearing their hands apart. Ethan staggered back, his heart pounding. "That's not possible. I'm human." Lyra stepped closer, her voice trembling. "You were human, Ethan, once, but they changed you." "Who?" he whispered. "The Zenarian Council," she said. "They wanted to create a bridge, a being who could live between our worlds. You were chosen, half Zenarian, half human. The first of your kind." He stared at her in disbelief. No, that's insane." Lyra shook her head. "You died, Ethan. You died saving me when our world was attacked, but the Council revived you using human DNA. They erased your memories and sent you here to hide." Ethan's hands shook. He looked at the mirror surface of a control panel, his reflection flickering between human and something else. His eyes glowed faintly blue for a second. He stepped back, terrified. "I'm not this guy," he said. "I have a life here." "A wife." Lyra's voice softened. "You had a life there too." "With me." He turned away. "Stop." She reached out, touching his arm. The moment she did, the memories flooded in. Laughter under alien skies, their wedding beneath two suns, and the moment he promised, "I'll find you, even if I'm reborn." Tears filled his eyes. He had said those words. He had meant them. Suddenly, alarms blared outside. Lyra's head snapped toward the door. "They found us," she said. Ethan ran to the window. Black helicopters circled the building, searchlights cutting through the fog. Soldiers surrounded the observatory, shouting orders. "How did they find us?" he asked, Lyra's eyes dimmed. Your wife. She followed you. Ethan's heart stopped. Mia? Lyra nodded. She gave them your coordinates. She thought she was protecting you. He felt his chest tighten. She doesn't understand, he whispered. Lyra's eyes softened. Neither did you. The door exploded inward. Soldiers stormed in, aiming their weapons. Freeze! One shouted. Hands up. Lyra stepped forward calmly, her voice calm and royal. You have no idea what you're doing. The men didn't listen. They fired. The bullets stopped midair and hanging in front of her like frozen rain. Lyra raised her hand and the bullets turned to light, dissolving before they hit the ground. Ethan stared, speechless. Come with us, a soldier yelled. Or we take her down. Lyra turned to Ethan. You must choose, she said softly. Them or me, Ethan's mind raced. He looked from the soldiers to Lyra, her glowing eyes filled with sorrow. She wasn't a threat. She was a part of him. Maybe the only real part he had left. He grabbed her hand. We're leaving, Lyra nodded. She raised her arms and a wave of blue light swept across the room. The soldiers were thrown back as their weapons melted into dust. Outside, the ground split open, revealing an ancient structure hidden beneath the observatory. A giant ring made of silver stone, covered in alien symbols. The Stargate, Lyra whispered. Our way home. Ethan stared down at it. Home? You were never meant to stay here, she said. Earth was only a hiding place. Before he could respond, another voice came from behind. It was Mia. Her face was pale, eyes full of shock and tears. Ethan, what have you done? She cried. He turned slowly. Mia, But before he could finish, soldiers outside fired again, this time with energy weapons. One beam struck the floor near Lyra. The ground shook violently. The Stargate began to glow brighter, pulling in everything around it. Lyra grabbed his face, her touch trembling. You have to decide now. Stay in the lie, or remember who you truly are. Ethan looked at Mia, terrified, crying. Then at Lyra, strong, desperate, glowing with love. He whispered, I remember. Lyra smiled sadly. Then come with me. The light grew blinding. Mia screamed his name as the Stargate activated, swallowing Ethan and Lyra in a wave of blue fire. The building collapsed behind them, and when the light faded, they were gone. Only silence remained. And a single message burned onto the observatory wall, words written in alien script. When translated, it read, He has returned to where stars remember love. The blue fire faded, and silence followed. Ethan opened his eyes slowly. He was no longer on Earth. The air shimmered like liquid glass. Silver clouds floated above mountains of crystal. The sky had two suns, one gold, one pale blue, shining together like twin hearts. Lyra stood beside him, her face calm but sad. Welcome home, she whispered. Ethan turned in awe. This is Zinara. She nodded. Our world, or what's left of it. The once bright city was now broken. Half the towers lay in ruins. The rivers glowed faintly, poisoned by war. In the distance, huge machines floated like ghosts, remnants of a battle long lost. What happened here? Ethan asked softly. Lyra's eyes dimmed. They came, the humans from your world. They found our portal long ago. They wanted our power, our technology. We tried to stop them, but we destroyed ourselves instead. Ethan stared at the shattered skyline. My people did this? Not yours, Lyra said quietly. The ones who used you. They walked through the ruins together. Every step felt heavy, like the ground remembered pain. Lyra stopped near a fallen monument, a statue of two figures holding hands under the stars. One looked human. The other, Ethan reached out, touching the cold stone. It was their likeness, their memory. He whispered, We were real. Lyra smiled faintly. You always doubted that, but peace didn't last. The sky above Zinara flickered, dark clouds swirling into formation. From the distance came the hum of engines. Ethan turned. Massive ships broke through the clouds, Earth ships. They followed us, he said, his voice breaking. Lyra's expression hardened. Then the war begins again. The first blast hit the ground miles away in a shockwave of fire and dust. Ethan grabbed Lyra's arm, pulling her behind a crystal wall as explosions tore through the ruins. Why are they attacking? He shouted. They think I'm the weapon, Lyra said. But it's you they want. Me? She nodded. Your DNA, it connects both worlds. You are the bridge. The key. Soldiers in black suits descended from dropships, scanning the ruins with glowing visors. Lyra's hands began to glow. Stay behind me. She raised her palms and light burst from them, forming a shimmering barrier around them both. Bullets hit the shield and melted into silver dust. Ethan watched her, amazed and afraid. You can't fight them all. I'm not fighting them, she said. I'm buying us time. He touched her shoulder. There's another way, she turned. What way? We show them the truth, he said. If I really am the bridge, then maybe I can stop this. Lyra hesitated. You're not ready. Your body can't handle your full power yet. He smiled weakly. Then I'll learn fast. Outside the shield, a commander lifted his radio. Target in sight, he said. The alien and the hybrid are together. Prepare the annihilation strike. Ethan heard it through the static of his mind, his new sense connecting to their technology. He looked at Lyra. They're going to destroy the planet. Her face went pale. Then Zenara will die forever. Ethan stepped out of the shield. The soldiers aimed their weapons immediately. Lyra screamed, Ethan, no! But he raised his hand, and for the first time the world listened. The ground trembled. The ships froze midair. Every piece of metal, every drone, every machine responded to his heartbeat. The soldiers fell to their knees as their weapons powered down. The sky flickered with blue light echoing his pulse. Ethan's voice carried like thunder. Stop this. You don't understand. You're killing the wrong enemy. Through the comms, a voice replied, the same agent who had questioned him back on Earth. Dr. Cole, or whatever you are, stand down. You are classified as extraterrestrial property. Ethan's jaw clenched. I'm not your property. The air around him exploded in energy. His veins glowed bright blue. The two suns dimmed as if afraid. Lyra ran to him shouting, Ethan, control it! You'll destroy yourself. But he couldn't stop. The power flowed like a river through him, linking Earth and Zenara across the stars. For a brief second, both planets aligned, sharing one sky. Through the link, he saw Earth burning from fear and Zenara dying from sorrow. Then, in the middle of the chaos, a new ship arrived, larger, darker. It wasn't from Earth. Lyra's face turned white. No, not them. Who? Ethan asked. The ones who started the first war, she whispered. The collectors. The ship opened, releasing silver drones that began to consume everything. Buildings, weapons, even air itself. The humans fired at them, but nothing worked. Zenara was collapsing. Lyra grabbed Ethan's face, tears in her eyes. There's only one way to stop this, she said. You must merge your power with the planet's core, reconnect the worlds. But if you do, you may never return. He looked at her, understanding what she meant. If I do this, I'll die. Lyra smiled sadly. Not die, transform. The ground cracked open, revealing glowing rivers of light beneath the city. Ethan looked into the brightness, then back at her. I promised you eternity, he whispered. She nodded, tears glistening like stars. Then keep your promise. Ethan kissed her forehead. Then he stepped into the light. The moment his feet touched the core, the world shook. The suns blazed together, forming one brilliant light. Every machine on both planets shut down. The collector's ship disintegrated in silence. Lyra fell to her knees, watching the energy spiral upward, a storm of silver and blue twisting into the sky. When it was over, only calm remained. The sky cleared, the two suns aligned into one, and the whisper of his voice echoed through her mind. Across worlds, my love remains. Lyra looked at the horizon, where the light had faded. She smiled through her tears. Goodbye, my human star, she whispered. But far above, in the endless sky, a new constellation began to glow. A human shape holding hands with a woman of light. The people of Zenara would later name it the Eternal Promise. That was all Ethan felt at first. Warm, infinite, and weightless. He floated between stars, hearing whispers of two worlds calling his name. Earth. Zenara. Both voices begged him to return, but he couldn't move. He wasn't a man anymore. He was something in between. Energy, memory, love. He saw flashes of everything he had lost. His lab, his wife Mia, the human sky. And then Lyra's face appeared before him, glowing softly, her voice a melody. "You did it," she whispered. "The worlds are safe. The war is over." Ethan reached out, but his hand was made of light. "I can't feel you," he said. Lyra smiled sadly. "That's because you're no longer flesh. You're part of the bridge now." Below them, Zinara began to heal. Rivers glowed again. Mountains rose. The broken cities slowly rebuilt themselves with the power he left behind. On Earth, the sky cleared. For the first time in months, no storms, no chaos, only calm. People looked up at night and saw a new light in the sky, brighter than any star. They called it the Guardian Star. No one knew it was him. Lyra stood at the edge of the crystal cliffs watching that same light. Every night it pulsed gently like a heartbeat, like his heartbeat. Her world whispered his name in every gust of wind, but her heart was heavy. He had saved them both, but at a cost she could never repay. She closed her eyes. "You kept your promise, Ethan. But I never got to say goodbye." One night, as the twin suns set and the stars appeared, the air shimmered beside her. A faint figure began to form, soft, transparent, glowing blue. "Ethan?" she breathed. He smiled. Not human, not ghost, but something divine. "I had to see you again," he said. Lyra stepped closer. "You shouldn't be here, you're part of the stars now." He nodded slowly. "Yes, but a part of me still belongs to you." For a moment, neither spoke. The wind whispered through the crystal trees. Her eyes glistened. "Do you regret it?" Ethan smiled faintly. "No. I finally remembered who I was, what we were." Lyra looked down. "You were meant to live a full human life. With her." "Mia?" he asked softly. Lyra nodded. "She's still looking for you." He sighed. "She'll move on. She deserves peace." Lyra looked at him carefully. "And what about me? What do I deserve?" Ethan's light flickered. "You deserve everything I can no longer give." Tears ran down her cheeks, turning to silver dust as they fell. She reached for him, her fingers passing through his chest like smoke. "I can't touch you," she whispered. "You don't have to," he said. "You've always touched my soul." Lyra smiled sadly. "That's such a human thing to say." Ethan laughed softly, the sound echoing like wind chimes across the valley. "Maybe I'm still human somewhere inside," he said. "Maybe that's why I found you again." In the distance, the old Stargate flickered with energy. It had repaired itself, glowing with new life. Lyra looked at it, then back at him. "It's open again," she said. "You could return." He hesitated. "Return? As what?" "As you," she said simply. "You could be reborn. The bridge has reset. You can choose your form." Ethan looked at her, at the world around them, at the sky they once shared. "Would I remember you?" Lyra's eyes filled with light. "Maybe not with your mind, but your heart would." He was quiet for a long time. Then he said softly, "If I return, I might never see you again." She smiled through her tears. "And if you stay, you'll never live again?" He laughed gently. "You always make it sound easy." "It's love," she whispered. "It's never easy." Ethan stepped closer. For the first time since he became light, he felt warmth. Her warmth. The stars around them pulsed brighter, responding to their hearts. "I'll come back," he said. "I'll find you again no matter where or when." Lyra nodded, her voice trembling. "Across the stars, my love remains." He leaned forward, his forehead almost touching hers. Then his body turned into a burst of light. scattering into the sky like falling stars. Lyra watched as the light spread across the heavens. It filled the air, the rivers, the mountains, until Zainara itself began to sing. The stars aligned, once more forming a new constellation above her, a man reaching out to a woman made of light. She whispered his name one last time. Ethan. Years later, on Earth, a little girl named Alara Cole stood in her backyard, staring at the night sky. She was the daughter of Mia, a child born after the day Ethan disappeared. Her mother never spoke much about him, but Alara always felt connected to the stars. That night, as she gazed up, a soft voice echoed in her mind, warm and kind. Alara. She looked around, startled. Who's there? No one answered. But in the sky, one star pulsed brighter than the rest, a familiar heartbeat. She smiled without knowing why. Her small hand reached toward the heavens as if greeting an old friend. Far away on Zainara, Lyra stood under the same sky. The twin suns had merged into one, shining gently. She closed her eyes, feeling a soft warmth touch her heart. And in that moment, two worlds shared the same breath, a silent promise across the universe. Love never dies. It just changes form.